Everybody, welcome back. Today is a tale of two, I don't know if you want to call them M14s or M1As, however you want to shake a stick at it. Let's take a trip back down memory lane. So back in the early, I want to say it was the late 80s, I believe it was 1989, you had a lot of Chinese. They're basically Polytech M14s were the designation, and they were essentially a throwback to the M14 service rifle. Of course, back in that day, I want to say I think the earliest import was back in March of 1989, when they imported the Polytech M14s, or the M14S specifically. Those are imported through a company called IDE. And from what I heard, or what I've been able to research, those were some of the best. The early IDE imports of the Polytech M14S were some of the nicest ones available. Now, originally, at the very beginning when they started importing them, you know, they had things such as a bayonet lug, and they actually had the slotted flash suppressor. Now, being the fact that this is not an early 1989 or March of 89 import, this is my Polytech M14S. It does not have that really nice flash hider, nor does it have the bayonet lug. However, this is still a very fine specimen because this one is actually serial number. There was, I don't know how many they imported, but this was serial number like 20, it's in the 21,000 range, I'll just say that much. But it is a very, very nice rifle. There's one little boogered spot right here. I may have to insert a picture, that way you guys can see that. Of course, you see that Made in China stamp. And then you see the M-14S 308, IDE USA, Springfield, I think that's Springfield, Michigan. And then the last of it says Polytech China. But these were actually some really nice copies of the M14. Other than a few minor things, a lot of people complained about these filled-in flash hiders and no bayonet lug. And then the other main area of contention was usually the rear sight. So oftentimes people would get these and they would replace them with basically an actual M14 sight or an M1A rear sight, and you know, they worked out quite well. Of course, one of the neat things is they still do have the trapdoor buttstock, and I believe that button is really hard to push in. Actually, I may have to go get a screwdriver. Actually, my wife has left something on the table that I can use. Let's get this trap door open. Now, I don't know if this was added after the fact, but let's pull this out of here. But there is cleaning kit or cleaning rod, and then additionally, as with a lot of the M1 Garands, actually you've got your disassembly tool. Still has Cosmoline all over it, so I'm assuming that's the way this thing was shipped. And on top of that, I believe that's my oiler bottle there. But, you know, to be quite honest, for a Chinese rifle to have all those things, that's pretty cool. Most of the time you don't see stuff like that. Now, like I said, I don't know if the person that sold this added all those items, or if they were originally in here. Maybe those of you guys that are a bit older than me, maybe you can weigh in on that and school me on it. Of course, one of the things, if you guys had noticed it right off the bat, is this actually has what appears to be Bakelite handguard, or fiberglass upper handguard. I think it's actually fiberglass. But anyway, it actually looks really cool on the rifle. It looks much better than what Springfield did on their M1As. Now, the cool thing about this is it does have a chrome lined barrel. Of course, this weapon is indeed safe. I'm not going to be handling a loaded weapon at the table. Let's get the mag out of there. But I'm knocking stuff all over the table. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but that is a chrome line bore. And it looks pretty nice. I don't believe this thing's actually been shot very much. Really cool. Of course, just like a Springfield M1A, of course it has your stripper clip guide. And I mean, I can't really say much else about it. Now you guys will see there's a line running through here. Kind of looks like a crack, but it's actually wood grain. So there's no cracks in the stock. And it's just a really nice looking specimen. I wanted one of these years ago, but I never could get one. Those of you that are in Canada, at least up until recently, that are watching, you guys could get these all day long. And they were some really nice rifles to get. I mean, I gotta hand it to you. You guys got some really cool stuff, but unfortunately you don't have the Second Amendment. But anyway, now the trigger pull on this, I do not have a Lyman gauge to check it, but I'm just kind of go off feel here. Let's see. There is some take up. I don't know how well you guys can see this. You will see this trigger move a decent amount until I hit a wall. And that wall is just a good clean break. There's no squishiness to it. I mean, it's just a hard wall right there. I have no idea what the trigger pull is. I couldn't even tell you if I wanted to. But anyway, this is actually one of those, I believe this is one of those unmarked cheap Korean mags. They actually lock in. Now, I can't say the same about these mags locking in my Springfield M1A. But anyway, back to my original story. So guys, this one actually came, I believe it was from Centurion Auctions as well, via proxy bid. Now you guys are probably wondering, good Lord, how much did you spend on that thing? Well, surprisingly enough, this was only $950. Of course, before the, that's before the buyer's premium and all that good stuff, which I thought was a pretty good deal because what I spent on this Springfield National Match was considerably more. Now, I don't believe they make this model anymore. We'll do another show and tell here. This one has more of a grayish parkerizing finish. This one, what I love about it, actually has a greenish parkerized finish. I'll kind of show this off for you guys. It's got a much, much nicer stock. And you will notice it has a stainless steel barrel. It does have the plastic upper handguard that's brown. Now, try to zoom in so you guys can see. I might just have to put a photo in. But basically it's just marked U.S. Rifle M1A, Springfield Armory. Now this one is actually in the $500 million serial number range, or $250,000. So, you know, it's I guess you call it a little bit of a lower one. I don't know what years they actually did the national matches. So the story behind this is, of course, you guys see that it does have a few scuffs and dings in it. It's not perfect. So the story behind this one is I walked into a gun shop and I've been looking for one of these for a long time. Never could find one. And I actually walked into the gun shop and I saw this one for sale. And I want to say it was listed right at, seems like it was $1,400 out the door. Now, I know you guys think that is insane, but bear in mind, this is a national match, Springfield M1A. It is not, you know, it's definitely not a Polytech M14S. This is an extremely nice rifle. As a matter of fact, this thing you can tell, for you guys that have a keen eye, you can tell this thing hasn't even been properly lubed yet. And no, I've not shot it, so don't freak out yet. But when I say lubed, properly greased like it's supposed to be. But it is just a gorgeous rifle. I was just super happy to add this to my collection. Then, you know, I found this one probably 3 or 4 years ago. And then I ran across this one. I was like, oh man, that's one I can get out. You know, either way. I mean, you can use them for different purposes, whether you want to just plink, whether you want to actually shoot competitions, whatever you want to do. But this I thought was really cool because I know at the time that I bought this, these were super expensive, and I found out after the fact that Springfield had discontinued this particular model. Now, you guys, please correct me in the comment section down below if they have since brought them back, because I do not know if they have. At least last I checked about a year ago, they hadn't brought them back. If memory serves me correct. The only unfortunate aspect is there was nothing in the trapdoor. That's okay. I can get a cleaning kit for that. The only thing I thought about doing was possibly changing out my flash hider here and putting a non-neutered one out here. I'm still thinking about that. I haven't fully made up my mind yet, but you know, I'll make a decision one way or another. I do have that part. I want to say it's actually a new old stock surplus part, if I ever want to do that. And yes, I have the tool to do that. And yes, I know you got to be really careful with those threads. There's just all kinds of things you got to deal with that thing. But I just want to kind of show you guys a comparison today. I mean, realistically speaking, comparing the Polytech M14S to, which this is the only thing I have to compare it to this Springfield national match, M1A national match, you really get a lot for your money in this one. I think so, especially since it's one of the early imports that's going to have that's going to just be higher quality. Now, is it a Springfield? No, not by any means. I mean, honestly, guys, you can see the crudeness of some of the castings here. I mean, it's not going to be as nice, but it'll definitely scratch that M14 itch or the M1A itch. And I have seen some of these recently for sub 1,000. So take it for what it's worth. Once again, I do believe I got that from Centurion via proxy bid. But it's a really cool rifle, and I thought it was just a really neat part of history. But anyway, always don't forget to check that place out if you're looking for something odd. Also, make sure you check out any of the gun shops in your area anytime you're on travel, whether you're on vacation, what have you, going to visit family, friends, whatever. You never know what's going to end up in a pawn shop. You never know what somebody's going to pawn, and sometimes you can get really fortunate. In this case, for what I paid for this national match, I thought it was an excellent deal. Like I said, I want to say it was like $1,300 or $1,400 out the door. I still believe that's a good deal. Unless these are a lot cheaper now, then I guess it's probably not such a good deal. But anyway, like I said, biggest primary differences between these two is the fact that, okay, obviously this one has a stainless steel barrel. Most of your M1As do not. But the biggest gripes and complaints that I've heard, at least for the M14S standpoint, is the rear sight and the fact that you've got a filled-in flash hider, which is really a non-functioning flash hider, if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty. And of course, it's been neutered. But, I mean, when you think about it, your M1A national match has also been neutered. The early ones did have the bayonet lug. But it's whatever you like. And this is a part that's easy enough to change out. I want to say it's a little harder on these. But anyway, just want to share this with you guys today. I do believe that this one's got a relatively nice trigger. Actually, I haven't checked the trigger on this one in quite some time. Let me get this out. This one's going to have a much nicer trigger because it's a national match. There's much less take up. You can see the movement. And it's a lighter trigger. It has a really good, crisp, clean break just like this one, except this one's lighter. I wouldn't say it's super light. Certainly not sub, 4 or 5 pounds. but that's just me guessing. I don't have a actual gauge to check. I should probably invest in one of those, to be perfectly honest. But, you know, it's still really cool rifle. And if you ever want to shoot some of the CMP matches, I think you can shoot CMP matches with these. But anyway, I know there's matches across the country where you can use these rifles. And I don't know if you could use one of these or not since it's Chinese. I don't know. You guys that shoot matches know a lot more about that than me. But anyway, like I said, just wanted to share this with you guys today. Just a quick show and tell, kind of give you a few pointers as far as what else is out there besides just buying a Springfield Armory M1A. You've also got your Polytechs that are still floating around. And as of late, you've got James River Armory that is basically, they have their own receivers and they're doing, I think, military parts kit builds on the M14s. So you've got at least 3 options out there. I want to say there's a 4th one. I think Fulton Armory might have been doing them as well. But anyway, obviously different quality one's going to cost you different amounts. Just do your research. Get what you want. I mean, don't take my word for it. I mean, why do I have these two? Well, I'm just a weirdo. I have this strange fascination with having 2 of everything, and I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, they're not 2 of the same thing, but they're close enough. But anyway, just wanted to share this with you guys today. If you guys have not considered subscribing, please do so. It greatly helps out the channel. Big shout out to my subscribers. And as always, thank you guys for all your likes, your shares, your comments. If you guys have either one of these rifles, or if you have a variant of this one, or even a different variant of this one, let me know. I'm definitely interested to hear what you guys have to say as far as your experiences with either of these 2 weapons. In terms of accuracy, reliability, things of that nature, because I've heard that both are relatively reliable, and there's really no inherent issues with either of them other than substandard rear sight and non-functional flash suppressor on one. But anyway, like I said, just wanted to share this with you guys. Thanks for watching. Till next time, you guys have a great day.